Listen well, for I shall tell you of those who dwell in the lands where civilization ends. Beyond Kislev's frozen borders, beyond even the great bastion of the east, there stretch the northern wastes, a realm where reality itself grows thin and the dark gods hold dominion. Here live the Norscan tribes, the Kurgan hordes, and the hung peoples. Humans, yes, but humans who have known nothing but the whisper of chaos since birth. They are the Chaos Marauders, and they are more numerous than all the armies of the civilized world combined. They are not corrupted in the way Southerners imagine corruption. They do not wake one day and choose evil. They are born into it, raised in it. They know nothing else. Their mothers teach them to pray to the dark gods before they can walk. Their fathers give them axes before they can speak. The tribal shamans show them visions of glory in service to chaos. This is their culture, their tradition, their entire world. To them, the civilized Southlands are weak, decadent places that have forgotten the true gods. To them, raiding is not evil. It is holy duty, proving one's worth to powers that demand strength above all else. The tribes are countless. The Easlings of the western coast, fierce sailors who raid across the Sea of Claws. The Varg of the central wastes, horse masters who move like the wind. The Kurgan tribes of the eastern steppes number in the millions. The Hung beyond the mountains of Morn are mysterious and savage. Each tribe has its own traditions, its own champions, its own favored dark god. But they share one thing: hunger. Hunger for glory, for plunder, for the favor of their gods. And the only way to satisfy that hunger is to ride south and take what the weak cannot defend. Survival in the northern wastes is brutal beyond southern comprehension. The land provides almost nothing. The soil is frozen permafrost that grows no crops. The animals are mutated, dangerous things. Mammoths with too many tusks, bears the size of horses, wolves that hunt in packs of hundreds. The weather itself is a weapon. Blizzards that last weeks, temperatures that freeze exposed flesh in minutes, storms that carry demonic whispers. Only the strong survive childhood. The weak die, and the tribe does not mourn them. Weakness is sin in the eyes of the dark gods. So the tribes survive through raiding and conquest. They take what they need from each other and from the south. A successful raid brings food, weapons, slaves, and most importantly, glory. A warrior who returns with southern gold proves his strength. A warrior who returns with southern captives proves his cunning. A warrior who returns with the head of a southern champion proves his worth to the dark gods. Those who do not raid, who stay in the settlements, are women, children, and the old. Real warriors die with axes in their hands, either in battle or on the altar when they can no longer fight. Tribal law is simple. Strength determines worth. The strongest warrior becomes chieftain, and he rules until someone stronger challenges him. These challenges are always to the death. There are no courts, no judges or appeals. If you are wronged, you take revenge yourself or you are weak. If you are killed, your killer was stronger and therefore deserving. This creates a society of constant violence, competition, and testing. But it also creates the finest warriors in the world. Every marauder who survives to adulthood has killed. Every chieftain has slain dozens. And the champions who lead the great raids south have killed hundreds. Every few generations, something shifts in the north. The winds of magic blow stronger. The barriers between worlds grow thin. The dark gods turn their attention to the mortal realm and whisper to their servants. When this happens, a champion rises, a warrior blessed with such power and charisma that tribes who have feuded for centuries unite under his banner. This is how the great incursions begin, not through careful planning or strategy, but through divine mandate and the force of one individual's will. And when the tribes gather, the world trembles. The gathering is called a wag by the greenskins, but the marauders have their own terms. The Norscans call it the Fimble Winter, the Great Winter of War. The Kurgan call it the Sky Storm, when the gods themselves ride to battle, whatever the name. The result is the same. Hundreds of tribes converge, thousands become tens of thousands become millions. They bring their families, their herds, their entire way of life, because this is not merely a raid, this is migration. The gods have commanded them to claim new lands, and they will conquer the south or die trying. The marauders do not march with discipline like imperial soldiers or elven spearmen. They flow like a tide, like a storm. There is no supply line because they carry everything or take it from the land. There is no central command because each chieftain leads his own war band. There is no strategy because strategy implies thought and planning, and the marauders fight with pure instinct and fury. They simply move south, destroying everything in their path, and they do not stop until they are defeated or until there is nothing left to destroy. This is why they are so terrifying. You cannot negotiate with them. You cannot bribe them. You can only kill them or be killed. The marauders worship all four dark gods, but individual warriors often favor one above the others. Those who worship Khorne, the blood god, paint themselves in red and seek only battle. They charge first, die first, and kill the most. They have no fear because fear is weakness, and Khorne despises weakness. Those who worship Nurgle, the plague lord, bear disease proudly and spread pestilence with every step. They laugh as they rot, for decay is merely transformation. Those who worship Tzeentch, the changer of ways, seek power through sorcery and mutation. They are unpredictable, dangerous, and mad with ambition. And then there are those who worship Slaanesh, the Dark Prince, the most disturbing of all. They seek perfection through excess, beauty through pain, pleasure through atrocity. They are fewer in number among the marauders, for the northern tribes value strength over sophistication. But those who do follow the Dark Prince are perhaps the most dangerous, for they fight not with rage or disease or ambition, but with a terrible, focused joy. They savor every kill. They make art out of cruelty. They are what happens when intelligence serves darkness. But most marauders worship chaos undivided. They honor all four gods equally, taking strength from each. This is the traditional way, the old way. They are versatile warriors who adapt to any situation. They are not as specialized as the god-specific devotees, but they are more balanced, more reliable. When the great incursions come, the majority of the horde follows chaos undivided, with specialized warbands of single god worshippers acting as elite units. Together they form an army that combines every aspect of chaos, rage and disease, sorcery and excess, all unified in desire to destroy the ordered world. When marauders attack a settlement, they do not besiege it like civilized armies. They simply charge, wave after wave of screaming warriors throwing themselves at the defenses with no regard for casualties, because death in battle is glorious. Their gods watch and reward courage. Because if you die, you are forgotten, and if you live, you claim the spoils. They use crude ladders or simply pile their own dead high enough to climb the walls. They use battering rams made from whole trees and set everything on fire, because fire is purification and destruction both. Once inside, they take everything. Food, weapons, tools, valuables, all are plunder. The young and strong become slaves, dragged north to serve the tribes or be sacrificed to the gods. The old and weak are killed immediately because they have no value. Buildings are burned not out of strategy, but out of joy. The marauders love to watch civilization burn. They desecrate temples, not because they hate the southern gods particularly, but because destruction of order pleases the dark gods. By the time they leave, nothing remains but ash and corpses. This is not war. This is erasure. Those few survivors who escape into the wilderness or hide successfully spread terror throughout the land. They tell stories of inhuman cruelty, of warriors who laughed as they killed, of champions with mutations that should not exist. These stories grow in the telling until the marauders become legends of nightmare, and that serves chaos well, because fear is a weapon. A village that surrenders immediately saves the marauders time and effort. A province that flees before the horde even arrives leaves resources undefended. Terror is as effective as any blade. And the marauders understand this instinctively, even if they lack the sophistication to articulate it. Among the marauders, some warriors receive more than others from the dark gods. These are the champions of chaos, warriors blessed with supernatural strength, speed, or other gifts. They are chosen not by birth or training, but by the gods' whim. A simple raider might slaughter a particularly worthy enemy and receive a divine blessing on the spot. His muscles might swell to twice their size. His skin might become hard as iron. He might gain the ability to see the future or command lesser demons. From that moment, he is marked, and other warriors flock to him. He becomes a leader whether he wants to or not. But those blessings are also curses. Each gift from the dark gods demands more. The champion must continue to prove his worth, or the gods will abandon him, or worse, transform him into a mindless chaos spawn, a writhing mass of mutated flesh with no thought or purpose. This drives champions to ever greater acts of violence and ambition. They cannot rest. They cannot be satisfied. They must always seek the next battle, the next conquest, or the next offering to their patrons. Many go mad from the pressure. Others become so warped by mutation that they lose their humanity entirely. The path of the champion leads either to daemonhood or oblivion. The greatest champions become chaos lords, warriors who command entire armies and whose names are known throughout the world. Valnir the Reaper led 30,000 Kurgan against Cathay. Surtha Ek, the chariot lord, raised 50 villages in a single season. Wulfrik the Wanderer challenged and defeated champions from every mortal race. These are not mere raiders, they are legends, nightmares made flesh. When a Chaos Lord calls for a great incursion, tribes answer, because to fight beside such a champion is to walk with the gods themselves. And when the incursion is defeated, as they always eventually are, the Chaos Lord either dies gloriously or retreats north to gather strength for another attempt. Because they never stop. They never surrender. They serve until death or damnation. The civilized world has developed strategies for dealing with marauder raids. Border fortresses are heavily garrisoned. Patrol routes are established. Warning beacons can summon reinforcements. In Kislev, Every settlement maintains a militia trained specifically to fight northern raiders. In the Empire, the northern provinces live in constant readiness, but these preparations can only do so much. Against small raids of dozens or hundreds, they work. Against the great incursions of hundreds of thousands, nothing works except total mobilization. And by the time you realize a great incursion is coming, it may already be too late. The key to defeating marauders is exploiting their weaknesses. They have no logistics, so if you can avoid direct battle and simply outlast them, they will eventually run out of supplies and retreat. They have no discipline, so if you can break their initial charge, they may scatter. They have no strategy, so if you can predict their movements, you can set ambushes. But all of this requires resources, time, and most importantly, courage. Because when 10,000 screaming berserkers charge your position, every instinct says to run. The soldiers who stand their ground despite that terror are the true heroes of the North. Sometimes the only option is scorched earth. If you cannot defend a region, you evacuate the population and burn everything else. That way, the marauders find nothing to plunder, nothing to fuel their advance. This buys time for the main army to mobilize. It is brutal and it destroys your own lands, but it works. The marauders hate nothing more than empty victories. They want battle, plunder, and glory. If you deny them all three, many will simply go home, not because they are defeated, but because they are bored. This is perhaps the most telling fact about the Chaos Marauders. They destroy civilization not from ideology or strategy, but from simple, childlike destructiveness. They break things because breaking things is fun. The great incursions come in cycles. Every few generations, the dark gods gather their strength and send their mortal servants south. If the incursion is defeated, the survivors retreat. Decades pass and a new generation of marauders is born. They grow up hearing stories of the last great raid and dream of surpassing their fathers. Then a new champion rises and the cycle begins again. This has happened for thousands of years, and it will happen for thousands more, because the northern wastes are endless. The tribes are innumerable, and the dark gods are eternal. There is no final victory against the marauders. There is only the next battle, and the one after that, forever. The southern kingdoms understand this. They know they cannot eliminate the threat, only contain it. This knowledge shapes their entire civilization. Kislev exists primarily as a buffer state. Its entire purpose is to absorb the first shock of northern invasions, so the Empire has time to mobilize. The great bastion of Grand Cathay is 2,000 miles of fortification for the same reason. The standing armies, the military orders, the fortified borders, all exist because the marauders will always come. This eternal threat has made the civilized world harder, stronger, more militarized than it would otherwise be. In a dark way, the Chaos Marauders have shaped southern civilization as much as any king or emperor. Yet for all the horror they bring, the marauders are still human. They love their children, they mourn their dead, they have songs and stories and traditions. They are not monsters despite what they do. They are people, damaged, corrupted, and raised in darkness, but people nonetheless. Some few southerners who have lived among them report that individual marauders can show kindness, humor, and even mercy within their own tribes. The cruelty they inflict on outsiders is cultural, not innate. This makes them perhaps more terrifying, not less. because it means that under the right or wrong circumstances, anyone could become them. The line between civilization and barbarism is thinner than most would like to believe. When a great incursion is finally defeated, the cost is staggering. Entire provinces lie in ruins. Tens of thousands are dead. Survivors are left traumatized for generations. The economic damage takes decades to repair, and the knowledge that it will happen again hangs over everything. There are no victory parades, no celebrations, just exhausted relief and the grim task of rebuilding. The soldiers who fought know that they have bought perhaps 30 or 40 years of relative peace. Their children will likely face another incursion. This is the burden of living in the North. Constant vigilance, sacrifice, and the knowledge that the enemy never truly goes away. Some defenders break under the strain. They have seen too much horror, killed too many enemies, or watched too many comrades die. They desert or go mad, or simply stop functioning. The northern provinces have higher rates of mental breakdown than anywhere else in the world. Temple priests who specialize in treating battle trauma are always busy. Some soldiers become alcoholics to numb the memories. Others become fanatics, channeling their trauma into religious fervor. The lucky ones find peace somehow, but many never recover. This is another cost of the eternal war, not just physical casualties, but psychological destruction on a massive scale. Yet they endure, because they must, because someone has to stand between civilization and chaos. The northern defenders, Kislevite ice warriors, imperial border troops, or Cathayan wall guards, are perhaps the truest heroes in the world. They receive little glory, less recognition, and fight a war they know will never truly be won. But they do it anyway, not because they are saints or martyrs, but because they understand a simple truth. If they don't hold the line, no one else will. And if the line breaks, everyone they love will die screaming. So they stand, they fight, they die, and their children take their place. This is the price of civilization. This is the cost of order in a world of chaos. The Chaos Marauders are not evil in their own eyes. They are faithful servants of their gods, warriors following their traditions, people doing what they have always done. To judge them by Southern standards is meaningless. They do not recognize Southern morality. They have their own codes, their own honor, their own righteousness. A marauder who kills 100 people in a raid is not a monster to his tribe. He is a hero, a provider, and a blessed warrior. The disconnect is absolute. There is no common ground, no basis for negotiation or understanding. This is why the conflict is eternal. It is not a war that can be won through diplomacy or compromise. It is a war between incompatible worldviews. And so the blood continues to flow in the snow. The marauders raid, the defenders hold, and the cycle repeats. Generations are born and die knowing nothing but this eternal struggle. The northern wastes remain frozen and hostile. The dark gods remain hungry, and the civilized world remains vigilant. Nothing changes. Nothing ever will. This is the world's oldest war, and it will be the last war standing when all others have ended, because chaos is eternal, and humanity is stubborn, because neither side can afford to lose. The blood and snow will continue mixing until the world itself ends. For this is the truth of the Chaos Marauders. They are not monsters, they are not demons. They are humans, twisted, corrupted, raised in darkness, but humans nonetheless. They love and hate, hope and fear, laugh and cry. They are what humanity becomes when civilization fails, when gods offer only cruelty, when survival demands savagery. They are a warning, a mirror, a reminder that the difference between honor and savagery is not blood or birth, but circumstance and choice. And in the frozen north, where blood stains the snow and the dark gods whisper promises of glory, they have made their choice. But will the South be able to live with the consequences? All these questions and many more will be answered in the Tales of the Old World. Subscribe and click the notifications button. And I shall see you in the next tale.